Hi, it's Chef Chaya again with Living Tree Community Foods, and I'm excited to share a savory recipe with you today. I've done a few sweet recipes, and today I'm going to be making a creamy coconut curry. I know you're going to love this recipe, so get your pens and papers ready and we'll get started. It's quick and easy. So today we're using the coconut cream from Living Tree Community Foods, and I'm starting with 3/4 of a cup of the coconut cream. It may be firmed up, it may be a little bit hard, so just stick it into a bowl of warm water or hot water. Let it soften a bit, stir it around to make sure that it has all the parts brought together. Measure out at 3/4 of a cup and put that in your blender. I'm using 1/2 cup of soaked cashews. So you want to start with 1/4 cup, or you can even start with 1/2 cup to make sure that you have enough after it's soaked. They'll expand and they'll soak up all the water and expand. If you have a few extra cashews, that's great. They actually create a really nice creamy milk, and you don't need a milk bath to strain it out. So whatever extra, you can just throw that into a hot tea and blend it and have a latte without needing to strain it at all. So 1/2 cup soaked cashews, also going into the blender. And then we're going to add 2 cups of filtered water. There we go, 2 cups of filtered water. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm going to add a few medjool dates. This is 3 medjool dates to give it a subtle sweetness, and about a medium-sized clove of garlic and 1/2 of a medium-sized, or a few small cloves of garlic. You can add more or less depending on your palate, if you like it a little spicier or if you like it less garlicky. And then I have my spice mix here. So what I have in the spice mix is a tablespoon and 1/2 of a curry powder. I like Frontier's organic curry powder. I have a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, which helps to bring all the flavors together in your curry. A teaspoon of cumin, and a teaspoon and 1/2 of salt. And that's all that's in this mix. Oh, plus I added 1/8 of a teaspoon of spicy cayenne. So it's a 90,000 HU cayenne, which will give it a really nice heat. You can add that or leave it out if you prefer it less spicy. So I'll put this in. Just get all of that out. Now, last step for the curry is just to blend it until it's nice and creamy. So this is a really easy recipe. You can make it in 5 minutes, and you should enjoy it very much. Blend this mixture really well. You'll break down that coconut a little bit further. It's going to thicken up as you blend it. And you can actually keep blending this until it gets pretty warm to the touch. That way, if you pour it over some fresh raw vegetables, it will be warm. And that's really nice during the winter time. So I'm going to keep blending it for a little while. Okay, and you always want to make sure to taste your recipe before pouring it into whatever container you'll be storing it in. So I'll just take a little on the back of my hand. And that is delicious. You're going to love this. You're going to love this recipe, especially during this cold weather. It's very warming. It has all the nice warming spices in it. And it can be used for a number of different things. I've chosen to use it today for a raw recipe. So what I did was I cut up zucchini into cubes. I cut up carrots into cubes, some bell peppers, broccoli florets, as well as some celery and some kale strips. So to that, I'm just going to pour a little of this coconut curry right on top. And I also like a little crunch and a little sweetness, so I'll add some dry cashews, and I'm also adding some cranberries, which are slightly tart and sweet. These are from Living Tree Community Foods. It's the only kind of cranberry I like to use because it is sweetened with apple juice. And most cranberries also have some type of oil and sugar added to it, so the apple juice sweetened cranberries are a great way to go. So I'll go ahead and add those in. I haven't put any measurement on that, just a handful of cranberries, a handful of cashews, and then we're just going to mix that together. And you can put this into your dehydrator if you have one for a couple hours, and it'll heat up. All the vegetables will soften a bit too. If you want to make this a day in advance, you can let it marinate in the refrigerator overnight, which will soften up all the vegetables as well, and then stick it in your dehydrator. If you prefer steaming your vegetables and you're not so much into eating the raw vegetables, a lot of people feel like it's too cold at this time of year, this curry would be excellent over steamed vegetables as well. And if you do want your vegetables raw, but you still would like some warmth in there, then steaming up some quinoa, heating some quinoa, put your vegetables on top, pour the curry sauce on top of the entire quinoa vegetable plate, and then mix that all together, and it would be a really nice, warm, wintertime food. So that's all there is to it. It's simple, it's delicious, and you'll have about 4 cups when you're done. You can put whatever you're not using into the refrigerator and use it throughout the week, or you can even freeze it and use some later. So thank you for joining us today. I am Chaya Ryvka of thelivingvision.com here with Living Tree Community Foods, and that is our creamy coconut curry.